Used to turn it.
I'm going to call this meeting to order on March 29th at 7 p.m. Attendance appointment of alternates. We are all here and our alternates, so we are all good. And then we will go into the agenda.
I'm going to move that we take the budget workshop out of order and move the Board of Education to after the Warehouse Point Library.
Is there a second?
Second
that, yeah. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes. So. American Heritage River.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Barbara Sherman. I'm Secretary of the American Heritage River Commission. I usually do the paperwork for my husband who doesn't use computers. So I'm the one who submitted the budget request for 2022-2023. We've kept our number at 3,500 for the last couple of years and have rearranged what we've done with it depending on how things go. It's very hard to do a budget in October for the following July. And we're only 3 months into the year that we started. Anyway, usually breaks down to out of the 3,500, 1,200 for secretary minutes, and then money for our reagents to do our water testing. And then we subscribe to 2 organizations that regard to the Connecticut River. And then there's money left over. We print some trail guides. You know, we conduct 2 hikes a year. We do New Year's Day hike, which can have up to 300 people. And we do a Connecticut Trails Day, which is the first weekend of June. Again, depending on how many come, maybe 50, maybe 70. Anyway, but throughout the year, we have a lot of people using the trails. So those guides are used all the time. And that kind of is the way our $3,500 goes. We've been lucky with COVID. Nobody else says that, but we have. 2 years ago, the professor from the University of St. Joseph, who does our water testing, they shut down. March, university shut down. The reagents that they use for the water testing has a shelf life that's very short. So what she had ordered to use in school, she then used for our summer E. coli testing. So we paid only $300. That left us with money in our budget, which we were able to buy the trail, the Braille signs for the trail, using up our $3,500. Then the following year, she took ill and had to limit her testing. So again, reagent money, which she didn't use for our testing, she then used in her classroom and then didn't have to charge us. So we kind of lucked out because of COVID. When I made this budget proposal for the 3,500, I thought there was going to be about $700 that we could use for new E. coli testing equipment. Turns out that's not going to happen because the projected expense for the E. coli reagents is going to go back up to the $1,800 that we have been paying prior to COVID. But what we did was we've asked for the money in our donation account to be used to help buy that reagent sealer. So we're back to 1,200 for secretary minutes, 1,800 for reagents, $200 or so for printing trail guides, $200 or so for subscriptions. And if we need to rent a porta potty for New Year's hike, that's $100. There's our $3,500. be nice if we could have a little bit more, so we'd have a little bit of leeway, but that was my request, and that's kind of the history behind it all.
Thank you. Any questions? No. Anybody?
Okay, if anybody wants to go online, and right here in Town Hall, there's a copy at the clerk's office. State of the Scannick. Professor Kirsten Martin, who is the professor at University of St. Joseph, who does our testing. She publishes this every year. Just to let you know, the Scannick River is one of the most polluted rivers in the watershed. Luckily, our testing results go not only to just us, but it's going to the state, it's going to Long Island Sound, it's going to University of Amherst. So a lot of people are looking into our testing results. And we have another professor at the university who is trying to identify the source of the E. coli that's found in the water. So anything that we do for testing is vital for not just East Windsor, but for the entire area. Thank you for your listening.
Ask when we go through this, if you just give it a heads up on where it is in the
So
binder.
they're under activities and fees.
I just couldn't, this was the only one I could find. I found the other ones, but
So American Heritage Veterans Commission
Yeah.
and Cemetery Association are all under the activities and fees in the general fund.
okay.
So I think it might be tab 2. And it's the one that had all the other things that Jay talked about, the memberships to CROG, CCM. So it's a big, long, it's in the 41s and it's 4140.
Okay.
And then the libraries are in the social service section, in the 4/5s.
Thank you.
So next would be Veterans Commission.
Jim Barton, Chairman of the Veterans Commission. And I guess I have 2 lines there to speak to the activities for Memorial Day. That's an area that covers the cemetery flags. We put out the flags at the cemeteries every Memorial Day. And that's about 1,000, a little over 1,000 flags. And we try to keep those in holders. You see the round holders on an aluminum stake, and those new ones every year or replacements. And also the flags on the flag poles at the about all the cemeteries. So that's what that line covers. The other line is our recording secretary. And what I had requested was an increase in that. That rate is currently $100. And I had requested an increase of $25 for that. The meetings are generally about a couple hours long. And it's been the same rate for the seven years, I think it is, that we've had a recording secretary. Prior to that, we had to do that, those tasks ourselves, but we really don't have people that are capable or equipped to do that kind of work. So I think it's fair to increase that. We do impose on the recording secretary to do some other tasks, some other correspondence that needs to be done. And we also get some clerical support from the first selectman's office. I don't want to eliminate that because they help us out with particularly our large program for our road race and our programs for Wreaths Across America and Memorial Day. But there are letters to the police department about closing the road and letters to the military. There's a cumbersome application for the flyover for Memorial Day, which been working on today, so our recording secretary actually helps us out with some of that stuff. So I would mention, though, that we have some months that our activities are very scant. And sometimes we do, we have an opportunity to cancel 1 or 2 meetings a year. Although we may also need to have a special meeting, but generally speaking, we do turn money back in. So that's my pitch.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, next would be Cemetery Association.
Good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? So we're with the East Windsor Cemetery Association. For those of you that don't know, we take care of the 6 town-owned cemeteries. That includes mowing of the grass, plowing of the roads. That's the 2 main functions. That costs us approximately $52,000 a year in this particular budget. So we're asking for $45,000 from the town. Additionally, we do have some other income from our perpetual care portfolio that we put towards other maintenance and beautification when possible. The biggest thing that we've been putting off that at some point will need to be addressed is repairs to the roads in several of the cemeteries. So we've been intending to do some patching and repair to those, but usually that seems to be what gets cut out of our budget every single year. So any questions on what we do or how we do it, or? No.
Anybody? Anybody that's newer?
No. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really? Oh, lickety split here. I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay, I believe you have a copy of the budget submission. Good, you should. Okay, well, number 1, our budget is a calendar budget and you're on a fiscal budget, so there's a little disparity there, but it's pretty much close enough, I believe. But I will say this, our 2020 budget as submitted, which has a total of $35,106, isn't gonna fly because I think we all know there's a lot of costs going up. And so I'm sure that we're gonna spend more money for electricity, which I hear is going up 50% for small places like ours. And homeowners are gonna get slammed this year. We know that heating oil is really getting out of control, and that's the way it goes. And I tried to put in enough for the budget, and I'm hoping it is, but whatever. Let's see. Snow plowing, it's up in the air. I'll leave that alone. We are going to be spending more on books than I put in the budget because those prices have also been going up, and that's the way it is. And there's a number of prices going up for almost everything. However, I'm not asking for more. I'm asking for what I'm requesting, which is $25,000. That's what I asked for last year and the year before. When I look at the concept of what kind of an increase it is, I don't consider it an increase. It's the same request 3 years running. That to me is not an increase. It may be an increase over last year's budget, but it's not an increase to us because that's the same amount of money we kept asking for. Okay, it's a matter of numbers, the way you calculate things. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying our perspective is slightly different. We have finally gotten a one of the museum passes, and we're going to get more. That's the season coming up. We've never had them before. And we want our patrons to be able to participate at discounts in various places around the state. So we started with one of the museums down in where is it? I forgot. Doesn't matter. Down near Essex. It's not the Essex train, but it's down that way. In any case. We have that one on board, which we have to buy, and we're gonna get some more because we have people asking. So we have quite a patronage. It's been a tough time this past year, the year before. But we have a lot of steady customers that come in and take our books, and we have to keep getting the new books because that's what they want to read. I will tell you that, let's see, book purchases in general doesn't show the quantity of large print books, but we make large investments in large print books, which is very popular. Now, if they're current books, a lot of people want to read current novels, and if we can get them in large print, that's the way we buy them. Because anybody can read a large print book, but anybody can't read the tiny type they're trying to put out today because they think they're saving money. You know, fewer pages, how exciting! You can't read it. So we push the large print, and we do get a donation from the Lions Club to help us buy large print books. It's not huge, but we make sure that it's invested properly. Let's see, I'm hoping this year that we have a Boy Scout Eagle project to put in a access ramp to one of our doors. And we're hoping that's going to get done this year, which will make it easier for people to get in and out of the building. And then when that gets in, it's going to be one of those aluminum things. They already have it, it's a matter of getting it installed. And then when that's installed, I have plans to put a roof over it because we don't want to be shoveling snow on a ramp. We don't want people trying to get in the rain on a ramp. It's not appropriate. Now that money is coming from our COVID benefits that we got. That's already budgeted. It has nothing to do with this budget at all. So all that's being taken into consideration. Okay. Now my other pitch will be that with a $25,000 request, if you take any money out of that, you're not saving the taxpayers a dime. It's a waste of time. It's too small to be cut. That's my opinion, and it's other people's opinion. It is, it's tough when I know you're in there trying to get the budget down to a manageable level, and it's not easy, but the town budget is pretty small in comparison to what it could be. And cutting something as small as this is extremely painful because you got to look at the percentages. And I just don't see how you can save the taxpayers any money by taking money out of our minuscule budget. There you go. I'm open for questions.
How much is that special pass that we were gonna be getting for this year?
That one, well, the one we have was $100.
Okay,
They're different prices from different places. But if we want to get one from the Air Museum, which allows a family to go there at a reduced cost, we have to pay whatever price they're asking today. But it's still a worthwhile project. Now, it's a reusable pass.
Right.
So many people can use that pass. There's a lot of places around the state that people would go visit if they didn't have to pay full price.
is your sense that you actually save the taxpayers money because they get to go at a reduced price? So like the $100 ones.
Oh, absolutely. Because otherwise they won't go. And I mean, these are residents of East Windsor we're talking about. So who are we going to help? Let's help ourselves. Do it correctly. So the more of this we can do, the better off we are.
Great, thanks.
Well, you're very welcome.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
okay. Come down to the library, visit.
Thank you.
And Warehouse Point Library.
This is our library. Now here, I'm depending on Jason, who I hope is going to put my presentation up on the Zoom and share the screen. Okay. Oh, very good. Excellent. Good job. This past year, we added Hoopla, which is a huge resource of digital video, movies, TV shows, music, audiobooks, ebooks, and comics. There's more than 900,000 different selections in there, so almost anything you could look for. And those are all downloaded. So at any time that you go on there and choose something, and it doesn't matter if somebody has it or not, you don't have to wait. You can download it right then and watch it and use it. And then when your time is up, it just disappears digitally. We also collaborated with the East Windsor Public Schools to provide library cards for the students right before summer vacation, so they would be able to come over the summer. And we've been offering curbside pickup, and we've delivered books to people who can't get out of their homes for whatever reason. And we also had our YA section is now up in the old building. We had that painted and moved the books up there in order to use our space better this year. And we provided almost 1,800 pickup craft kits for children, older children, teens, and adults. And some of our staff are real artists at this, and it looks in the bag like scraps of construction paper, and it comes out really something beautiful. It's very nice, and the kids love to do it. Starting April 4th, next Monday, we're going to be open in the evening, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evening until 8 o'clock. So we're going back finally to our pre-COVID hours, which is a good thing. We got from the town an erase grant. This is on the next page there. Oh, thank you. Okay. And that's the octagon in the library with some of the erased books on it. And we used that grant to buy nonfiction in order to update our nonfictions with things that are current and popular, because that is what people look for. And we're choosing high quality new titles. And above that, it says funded by the East Windsor Board of Selectmen through the Emergency Relief and Stabilization Effort. So we call it the erase grant and the erase books. But that that goes inside each book to show you where the money came from for that book. We also got a CEN grant this past year that provides Wi-Fi in the parking lot behind the library. So if for some reason your internet isn't working at home and you have to send something into work that night, there is Wi-Fi in the library parking lot that you can use. And we got another small grant to get a solar charger and a picnic table behind the library so that you can use the outdoor Wi-Fi there, and even when the library is closed. We had from Christine Ross, who passed, the wife of one of our board members. We had a memorial fund for children's materials and programs and paid for some nice summer programs. We had more summer programs than usual. And I forget the summer reading title. It was about animals. So we had a llama, a ferret, sea creatures, and a giant rabbit there. And then the Lions Club contributed for us funds for 24 picture books with diverse characters, and that's myself and some of the lions there on a display with those those picture books that they contributed. And that was Larry the llama on the top. Our library is now up to $42.06 per capita is our budget, which is almost as much as average towns of our size at their library. The statewide, which includes the larger libraries, that amount is $57 per capita. That's higher. Then if you go to the right, of that $42 per capita, $24.63 of it comes from the town.
That's our money from the town. And the rest comes from fundraising and money that's in the library's funds already. So that's the library's getting a good deal if you compare it to other towns our size. The town's getting a good deal. And then down below there, our money from the town is 58.5% of our budget. So, and most of that money that comes from the town goes for staff. And it is, for the money that East Windsor comes in, it's 0.63%. So it's less than 1% of the town budget goes to the library. And the standard now for Connecticut libraries is support the library to 1% of the town money. So we're below that, but our per capita income is pretty good. We're up to average for our size. Our wages and salaries are still low, still quite low compared to the average towns. And here's the thing I'm going to be asking for soon, not this year, but soon. We have one full-time person, that's me, and 8 part-time people. Average towns our size have 4 full-time people and 9 part-time people. I could use those 3 other people. Down below there, this is summer programs. They're painting a snake. And then the other is hay with farm animals in the table, and the kids are out there. We had most of our summer programs outside this past summer. The circulation at the library last year was 31,677, a 16% increase over the previous year. And the library is requesting $299,750, an increase of 5%. And that upper picture was a bird program. The woman brought 5 different birds, large birds, raptors, and so on, for the kids and adults to see. And down below are some of the electronic resources that we have. Simply E, Kriegel is music. Tumble Books is books for kids that can be read to them by the computer in their home. Job Now and Universal Class, and quite a few of the staff at the town use Universal Class to bring up their skills in Excel or other computer programs when they were back at work, but not.
They can't see me. I couldn't sign in through my computer, so I signed in from my phone. They can't see me. This is well, that's usually how people are.
Thank you very much for your support for the town. If I understood that, I would answer, but thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions?
I have a question. Do you have a sense of how many people are using the free fax machine? Because that's really a valuable resource for some of us.
Well, the fax machine is not free.
Oh, it's not?
It's $1 to fax.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but a lot of people do come in and fax, or they do come in and fax. If they forget something, if they don't have their money with them, whatever, they come and pay them. Any other questions?
No. All right, Dr. Tudor, Board of Education.
Good evening. I know I presented just I think 6 days ago, so certainly I won't redo the presentation. I certainly on behalf of the Board of Ed and myself certainly look at this as an opportunity to work with the Board of Finance, understanding that each of you have received the budget booklet, also understanding it's 40+ pages, and anticipation that just based on the depth of information in there. there would be questions and wanted to use this as an opportunity to just have a dialogue and, see how we can provide any more additional clarification or clarity on the budget proposal.
Anybody want to start?
Yeah, I have a couple, just clarifications. or whatever. Under your, the district administration central support services.
Bill, do you
Under-
mind just referencing what page? It's just easier. for me to-
Page 35 is, 35 and 36.
Yep.
Under budget commentary, and one of the highlight points is the cost of contracted services was significantly decreased as a result of ending the contracts for outsourcing business office operations.
Yep.
When I flip over, maybe I'm just not reading it properly, or I understand that some of that expense moved up to new positions on the top for HR staff, business staff. It looks like there's 4 people involved from there. But under professional services line, I don't see where that reduction, I don't know how much you're paying TMS personally, I'm sure it was a fair amount, I just don't see where it came out under contracted services. That's just my question. Did something else take its place in there?
It might have.
Okay.
So what I can do is, any of the questions, my thought is I would
Yeah.
just research and provide it by the end of the week.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. That was just one of the ones
Yep.
that just caught my eyes. I was reading through what you had written here. And my second one goes back to, the comment was made on page 22. And this is something, like I said, I don't know if it's something that's done ahead of time or if it's part of the budget or not. Under the first budget commentary, there's a line that says the decrease is also due to several outplaced students moving out of district over the summer of 2021, which was an anomaly. The reason for a contingency tuition transportation account. Now, is that account part of this budget, or is that account that's somewhere else?
Sorry, which bullet?
The first one, right under budget commentary on page 22. Is part of the, talking about the special education tuition and transportation. In that commentary, it talks about the,
So they are back currently.
so the students came back to the town.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I guess my question is, there's a comment there's a contingency tuition transportation account. Now, is that part of the budget, or is that something they just have somewhere else?
As far as, the contingency for the transportation.
Yeah.
You're speaking, so that would speak to special ed. So what we did was we allocated essentially like what would average. So it's tied into the special ed transportation line. So it's added to like our existing known costs, and then there's like a certain amount, whether it's 30 or 40,000, I can get you the actual amount that's added on to project as far as what that added transportation cost would be.
So that is figured into the budget numbers you gave us for the.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. Yep. So that contingency, those contingencies are added into those numbers.
Okay, and I guess my question comes from that on, and just the angle I'm looking at it, just looking at what we're doing, looking, possibly do with the budget.
Yep.
Is several years ago, we set the 2% account, and my attitude in setting the 2% account was that's what that was used for, going to be used for, is I think there's $400 and whatever $1,000 in that account.
I can tell you that can absolutely be an option. Just because of our transition to our business office, I mean, my first year as superintendent, we're making a lot of transitions,
Oh, I
maybe more so initially anticipated. But one of the things too is refocusing our finance committee. So in the past, our finance committee really hasn't been a committee. It's basically been individuals on our board that have signed checks. Using our finance committee to actually meet with our director of business. And also one of the things that is part and has been part of Board of Ed discussions is discussing the uses and the purposes of the 2%. Our business manager just started today. He was first day. I wasn't going to bring him here as far as first day of work. I said, why you get familiar with Munis and some other things. But certainly as he's now in that role and he gets comfortable, that we foresee those being part of the conversation. So those will be conversations I would anticipate that would be part of the finance committee and then making recommendations to the Board of Ed. We're just not there yet as far as where we are.
Very good. That was the questions I saw, just reading over.
No, very good questions. Questions internally that we've had We're just not there yet as far as our own discussions, but those are certainly possibilities.
And I just like to say, I do really appreciate the way this was laid out and it's, easy to kind of look back the way it's set up. So I do appreciate that you presented this. to
I
us.
appreciate the feedback.
So to kind of piggyback on what you said, though, that you guys aren't there yet, and I fully understand that because you kind of got thrown right into the fire and right on time for budget season too. But I can't not look at the audit and see the mistakes and the things that had happened and the amount of money that was found. So if I just purely look at numbers and TMS last year, if you look at what's on the books, they were paid $325,000. If you look at the 2% fund, there's $478,380 in there. If you look at the amount of fines that were paid because of the payroll errors and the mispayments not paid to the government, that's a total of $813,400. That's not going to be, or shouldn't be, right, spent again, but is still in your budget because it's still money you have in your budget. Then if we look at the $1.1 million that was revenue, that of course got used against the medical health insurance, but you guys straightened out. Right there is a lot of money that was sitting there. So it's hard for me to pull together and say, but we need another million when we still don't know where we sit this year and what we're going to find this year. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm having that's where I'm having trouble wrapping my head around it. I'm just putting it out there and being honest, because I don't think you know where you are, because you can't know where you are because you have so much still to figure out. So it's hard to say, well, let's just throw another million at it when we have everything that we've just discovered.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm sitting right now.
No, I appreciate you providing, honest, open feedback.
Yeah.
What I can state to that is as far as next year's budget proposal. I mean, what I tried to articulate working with the Board of Ed along with our administrative staff is almost like the allocation dollar to dollar as far as where the money is needed based on the kids' needs. Just being completely honest back. I mean, based on our circumstances, based on the transition with business offices, I have a better understanding of the budget proposal put together here because I mean, I essentially own it. I walked in owning someone else's budget to start this year. And certainly we, obviously there's a corrective action plan for a reason. Certainly, I feel like we put together a very good plan. Those pieces are in place. We're putting the key people there and there's still work to do there. And I think those were my exact comments at the Board of Finance meeting. There's recognizing that we do have work to do in that area.
Oh, and I agree. I think the corrective action plan is phenomenal. I just think that like the $813,000, that's there. That's money that's still there, especially the 2%. If you weren't, even if you only had partial of some of that money that was found, like when we do the audit, when you go through your next time getting through it, there's still $813,000 that is not going to be used what it was used for previously. If you kind of get what I'm math wise, what I'm trying to say. But the 2% fund, and like Bill said, is I look at that as this is the perfect year for it because there's so many uncertainties. So it's like the perfect year to use that for if there is missing funds. Anybody else?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go to, but kind of off of that, certainly I know COVID has impacted the school district. There's money that we haven't spent that we typically would. Do we have any idea where we've saved because of COVID and how much that has equated to?
As far as, so I can identify the areas that we, that we have saved. That being said, as far as the actual dollar amount, that's still being calculated because we had to make corrections to the general ledger account that salaries were hitting. So certainly I can speak to certain things like transportation, and certainly I could get those dollars to you. But like as far as we had a number of positions that were unfilled because they weren't hitting the correct general ledger account, we are still doing the work on that. I can tell you all those general ledger accounts and units have been corrected. the salary is being reflected accurately. We're able to project the rest of the course year. So with that, we're getting in good shape, but we're probably about 1 or 2 more payrolls from answering some of your questions regarding things of salaries. And when you look at our overall budget, 70% of our budget is salaries. So really any realistic savings typically tends to be on our substitute teacher lines. I can tell you it's been incredibly difficult to get substitute teachers, not to say that there hasn't been a need, but like if you can't get them, you're not expending the funds, and it goes beyond just like teachers, pairs, nurses, really subs for really any category. So that's like one example as far as salary savings. Transportation certainly has been another one, more so last year than this year. I mean, we've been in school every day this school year, so that's something I can tell you I take great pride in. There's a number of school districts due to busing, transportation, quarantining that have had to shut down. We haven't shut down one day. So certainly I can tell you, being in classrooms on a weekly basis, certainly take great pride in the instruction that's taking place, teaching that's taking place. But that being said, you know, I can get some of those numbers, but if it's related to salaries, I mean, that's probably like a couple weeks away.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Patrick, I have a question for you. There's no technology Snapchat. This table for tech, is that, it's not, I can't find it. Is it in the packet? Am I just not finding it? The technology one, or is it buried? In each?
It's part of admin, so it's connected to.
I wasn't sure if it was buried in each cost center for the building.
It's part of should be part of admin. Yeah, so if you go to district administration, central support services,
Yeah, on
36.
36.
Yep.
So that line of your proposed 33,000, that would sit, that's explained on that.
Yeah, let me just, what page is the commentary on? Sorry.
Well, that's my own fault.
I was on page 2 when I left.
Yeah, 24.25. So that's all captured in that number.
Yeah, let me just, if I could just take a look at.
Not
And what
the
bullet was it?
Page 30.
No, I was just asking what bullet you were referencing.
Oh, no, I was just asking, like, what I was trying to look at was where I could look at the numbers that corresponded to the narrative.
Oh,
the
sorry,
central
yeah,
tech.
so that's, sorry, district admin, yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
The other question that I had was that in the curriculum one,
Yep.
the it's a small amount, the development in service. Is that in service for everyone, or is that only in service that's specific to anyone associated with curriculum?
Sorry, George. if you
Oh,
could just
sorry.
reference
Yep, that's
page
fine. 20,
right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
'Cause I didn't see anywhere else where you have like
It
in-service
is,
training identified.
it is, the reason why that cost is so low is because we have a lot of PD covered in grants right now.
So your PD's grant funded.
It
the
is,
majority.
it is, yeah. A lot of it is, especially the vast majority for teacher and administrator PD.
Yeah.
Anybody
Thanks.
else?
Okay, so just so the 2 biggest points as far as the areas due to COVID that we were unable to spend, if I can get that financial to you, and then also the contract service question regarding TMS. Okay, so I'll get that back to you by the end of the week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's,
Right, so that actually. we got through that really quick tonight. All right. Anybody, anything else, comments or anybody? Right, so Monday, April 4th. And then April 6th. We have on April 4th, we have the Broadbent Fire Department public hearing.
Police and road fire.
All right. Depending on how long that goes, we can start looking at the budget. I guess. Depending on how long
That's fine.
that goes.
I think,
You
is
know,
it on there on the workshop
It does say, but it just
No, on
says
the
budget workshop.
agenda? No, but on the agenda. I did
Oh, on this
before?
one?
Yeah.
It's police commission, EM communications, Robert Fire, and revenue.
And revenue, but we don't have on there to start discussions of,
Okay.
Amend the agenda.
yeah, it's just, okay.
Yeah.
Because I think we'll have time, like,
Amend it.
if I knew we were gonna have this much time tonight, I probably would have put it on for tonight.
Yeah.
So, because it's kind of utilize our time a little better.
And
Right.
can we talk about our regular meeting on the 20th being in the middle of April vacation?
Sure.
Can we move it to either the 11th or the 13th?
Mhm. Why don't we just move it to? Yeah, oh, I'm here, but, yeah, I mean, I guess we could just put it, we have a workshop anyway,
Yeah,
so if needed, so just put the meeting on that then.
On the 11th or the 13th?
The 13th, because you have it scheduled as budget workshop if needed.
Yep.
So. Yeah, just do it then.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Right, then that would be a motion to adjourn.
That's the day we need to have the budget approved anyway.
Yeah.
The 13th, so if we can get it done on the 11th, then we can work on just the wording
Yep, can be done.
for the mailing.
Sign, seal, deliver, then you can have your meeting and then you'll be good to go. All right, so motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
I-
All right.